Hey guys, what is up? C4's back, aka Mr. Foreman. And today what we're going to do, we're going to outline some characters in Sketchbook app. I'm going to show you how that's done using shapes. That's right, we're going to outline characters using shapes. So let's dive into it. So I have Sketchbook open here. If you guys need to understand how to work certain aspects of Sketchbook, be sure to check out those other tutorials. And as always, make sure you like and subscribe. Let's go ahead and go into this. So I have two characters already ready. I have Dexter, let's flip him around. And I have Gumball, okay? All right, so first things first, let's do Gumball. Let's try Gumball, all right? What you wanna do is use a pen tool. You wanna make sure that your lines are solid, okay? So that's why we don't use pencils or airbrush or none of that nonsense. Not for this. We're gonna go ahead and turn it black. So that way our outlines are black, and then we're gonna bring down our brush size to about like 2.9 or 3 point, doesn't matter. And then we're gonna start our wonderful outline by creating a new layer. And we're gonna observe our character. Notice that our character has a curvature looking face. At least Gumball does. Let's turn on Dexter. Versus Dexter, Dexter has a box body. All right, so Dexter's pretty bad body. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna use different shapes to shape up our character. And we're gonna use our mesh tool to sculpt it up. All right, so let's start with Gumball, like I said. And what we did, we created a new layer. We're gonna make sure that layer is on top of Gumball, okay? And then we made sure that our opacity is at 100% and making sure our brush is at 3 point or 3.1, doesn't matter. And then what we're gonna do is we're going to use our circle to create Gumball's face. In fact, we're gonna use 2 circles to create Gumball's face. One for the head, one for the left facial cheek. So we're gonna create a circle over his face, and of course the circle isn't gonna match up. We're gonna use our transform tool, which is this right here, and then we're gonna go to our mesh tool, which is this right here. Okay, once you get the box, you're gonna notice that it has a bunch of dots on it. Each dot controls different parts of the circle. All right, and so once you match it up with the face, okay, you're gonna move on to the next circle. We're gonna create the circle over his facial cheek. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna sculpt it using the mesh tool. If you notice, I'm gonna use this middle circle right here, and I'm gonna use it to sculpt out his face. And I'm just gonna move it a little bit. So that allows me to sculpt out the face even further. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna erase the unnecessary parts of his face, okay? Also, I'm going to go and I'm going to observe what works and what doesn't work. All right, so look, let's start with the first layer with the facial cheek layer. Let's start with that. So we don't need this part right here. And what we're going to do, we're going to use an eraser, preferably this one, and we're going to erase this area. You don't need that. Make sure you zoom in and that you don't make a mistake and erase the wrong part. Okay, so just like that. So once that's done, you're gonna go to the head layer that you outlined. You're gonna erase the part that you don't need. So you don't need all of this intersecting on the facial cheek. All right, and once you do that, then the head should be complete. You wanna go ahead and merge them together. And how merging works is that if a layer is on top of another layer and you hit merge, it merges with the layer below it. So you're gonna go ahead and hit merge. All right, so that way you'll have the head. All right, so everything else should be a no-brainer, but at the same time, I'm gonna show you how it's done. So the eyes are just a plain circle. So again, you're gonna create a new layer. You're going to go to your shape and create a circle. What you're gonna do, you're gonna use the transform tool, hover the circle over the eye to make sure it lines up. And again, if it's not perfectly lined up, use the mesh tool and use the dots to help you to get a perfect shape for the character, okay? All right, so I'm gonna speed up a bit. And what I'm gonna do is, since I created the eye here, I'm just gonna duplicate it. That's all I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna hit duplicate. And then also for the pupil, same thing. Duplicate. The mouth is shaped like a circle, so it's like a little stretchy circle. So we're gonna do the same thing, just like that. Now the cool thing that we could do is, once we go to the mesh tool, this little dot that's in the middle, we're just gonna like use the middle dot just to stretch it over just a tad bit. And then we're gonna bring it over, and then we'll use the remaining dots to shape everything up. I'm going to go to this eyeball right here. This is a cool thing about the undo button, just in case you make some mistakes. And I'm going to erase that part of the eye that I don't need. And guys, you can always blink your layers on and off by hitting the eye button, so that way you can see what you're doing. You can also use the line tool to create his whiskers, because Gumball is pretty simple. It's very simple. Now, for simple areas like the nose, you can just trace that. That's fine. But if you look at different parts of his body, you could see shapes, all right? Now, for some of these, you can actually use the box tool. So let's try it out. So for the feet, you can use a box. So throughout this whole tutorial, I'm gonna show you also how to observe and, and see which tools you actually need and which ones you don't need. All right, so for his feet, they're like Lego blocks. All right, and all you gotta do is duplicate that, slide it over. Yep, and then he seems to have some lines in between his pants. We're gonna create those. And then once we're done doing that, we're gonna go ahead and merge those together. So you're gonna observe, make the shape, make the adjustments, and then erase what you don't need. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and speed up this video, because I think you guys get the concept. And before I speed up the video, I'm gonna show you guys how to do the stomach. The stomach is simple. You're gonna combine both a square and a circle together. You could do that, or you could keep it simple. You could just use a circle and a line, and that could also get the job done. So let's start off with the circle. Make sure your pen tool is selected. You're gonna place the circle so it matches the belly. So the main part you want to focus on is this area here. So from here, you guys get the concept. All right, so what I want you guys to focus on is this. The whole concept of using your gradient tool still stands. Once you have everything connected, you could go ahead and start coloring your character. So the next step I'm going to show you guys is how to create your own background, okay? All right. The background is simple. You could create a grass-like background, because in my class we're doing the fall season, because it's like the fall. Okay, and then so I'm gonna make my grass like golden, and then I'm gonna go over here to my brush library up here where I'm pointing. If it looks like this, do yourself a favor and tap the tab to the left to get the actual brush library. Scroll down until you see shape. Shape is where you want to be. Now on the second row, the first button is the grass texture. Select that. Make sure your brush size is up like 300, and plus up. And you want to go along the ground, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Ball is not a PNG. That is an easy fix. For those of you that do not know how to do this nice little trick, I'm going to delete the white background by using the bucket tool, but I'm going to turn my color off. So I'm going to go here to my color wheel. I'm going to turn it off by using this button right there. And then I'm going to go to my bucket tool. I'm going to make sure I'm on my solid. And then I'm going to tap the white area of Gumball. And voila, you have a PNG. Okay? If you didn't catch that, just rewind the video back, slow it down until you get it, okay? I'm gonna turn my color back on. Press this button right here. All right, we have a bit of a glitch here. There we go. All right, and if you want to create the sky, it's very simple. All you gotta do is create yet another layer. And on this layer, just create a gradient, and that should fix it. Okay, so in my last tutorial, I showed you guys how to create a shadow by duplicating your character. And then the character at the bottom, you turn it dark, all the way dark. All right, so you're gonna tap that layer, go to something called HSL adjustment, and then turn it all the way dark and hit done. And then you should see that your character turns completely black. Okay, once you're there, use the transform tool, use the mesh tool, and then you're gonna use the dot that's highlighted blue that you see on the screen. You're gonna slant it over and then bring it down, just like that. Again, slant it over, bring it down. Look at the blue dot, that's the dot that you use, okay? Let go, hit done. Voila, you have your shadow. Great.